Hello, everyone. Welcome to Therapeutic Yoga class today. Our highlight today is our low back. Now, today is going to be a fairly generalized class. So it's going to be targeting the low back, but really the low back is not the cause often of low back pain. Most times, individuals that have low back pain, it's a cause somewhere either above, also known as your rib cage, or below, so pelvis, hips, something like that. So our class today is going to kind of be little tiny tidbits of a little bit of everything that I personally feel in my patient population I'm targeting the most for individuals that have low back pain. So we're going to be working a little bit on the rib cage. We're certainly going to be working some on the abdominals and on back strength. And then, of course, we can't do a low back class without targeting some of the gluteals and the hamstrings and the hip flexors. So just a little bit of everything for today's class. So for class, what you're going to need is your yoga mat and a bolster. We're going to start in sitting, but go ahead and grab a yoga block or something similar to it so that we can do some hip opening later on in class using that block. Once you have all that, find yourself in a seated position, have yourself in tailor pose, which means, your legs are gently crossed, also known as easy pose in yoga. Now, a couple things to talk about sitting relative to individuals that have back pain. If your hips are your chief limiter of motion that actually causes you to overuse your low back, then, oftentimes sitting on a yoga mat, even if you've got a yoga bolster that you're sitting on, is just not enough for you. So if you commonly practice yoga, therapeutic yoga, whatever you're practicing, mindfulness, meditation, and you are in a common position that we're in right now, and you start to feel your low back be the first area of attention for your mind, then it just might be that your hips are so tight that this is not an efficient position for you. So a couple of suggestions outside of obviously moving to a chair, which would be the first recommendation, is to not sit with your legs in an externally rotated position, meaning that your legs are turned out. So oftentimes the better option for individuals that have low back issues is to keep their legs straight. You can certainly protect your knees if knees are an issue for you by putting something underneath your knees, or even having your legs a little bit wider. Now, again, if knees are not a problem for you, another alternative position to do any sort of meditation, mindfulness, is kind of like in a straddle position, where in this position, your knees are wider than hip distance. But what I really want you to see is that when you're in a kneeling position, your knees are definitely below your hips. So if you've got really tight hips, it's not going to have you forcing and putting tension into your back to begin your class. So I just want to mention that. A lot of my classes, obviously, we begin in a seated position. So for those of you that do have back issues, it might be that you strategically start in a different position to kind of take a little bit more care of your back. Okay, with that being said, we're going to start with a breathing exercise today. So find yourself in a nice tall position. Allow yourself to go through a couple of pelvic rolls forward and backward. Find that middle of the road, or where you feel like you're sitting the tallest on your sit bones. And once you have that position, spine nice and long, allow yourself to hinge forward from your hips. That puts you just on the front side of those sit bones so that you're sitting on muscle, also known as your pelvic floor. But more importantly, it transfers your base of support to include your legs. So even if you're sitting in a chair, go through the same process that we just went through. All right, now let's get our shoulder girdles in a good position, even though this class is about our back. So just allow yourself to kind of hold your hands like you're holding a tray in front of you. Just gently shrug your shoulders up. Now, not all the way to the ears. You're just loosening your upper trapezius and levator scapulae here. And then slowly rotate your arms gently outward, keeping the thumbs and the arms gently outward. Just pull your elbows and your shoulder blades back and down. Feel the muscles between the lower middle shoulder blades engage. Keep them squeezed, and as you keep them squeezed, unrotate just your arms and gently place your hands on your thighs. You've got it. Now, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, get your nice good alignment all the way up that kinetic chain. Take your tongue, place it on the roof of your mouth. And then we are ready to start a breathing exercise. So today's breathing exercise is going to be square breath. So a nice, good breathing exercise. If you are anticipating any sort of stress, it's a good one to kind of do 3 to 4 breaths before you kind of put yourself into that stressful environment. So the breathing technique is very simple. If you can, in your mind, visualize a square, you're going to use that square visualization with the movement of inhalation for the up of the one part of the square, retaining or holding your breath across the top of the square, exhalation coming down one side of the square, and retaining and holding your breath for the bottom of the square. So keep that nice, beautiful posture. Make sure you've got weight into your legs. Get that neck nice and long. Gently settle that chin, tongue to the roof. Keep those shoulder blade muscles slightly engaged. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you and visualize a square. Okay, so start in that bottom left corner of the square if you'd be so kind. And then while you're thinking of that bottom left corner of your square, start an inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, top left corner of the square. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1, top right corner of the square. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, bottom right corner. Hold your breath 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to that left corner. So that's essentially all you're doing. So you're centering your mind by cognitively thinking of that square at the same time as you're lowering your exhalation and trying to tap into that relaxation response. All right, let's go through this 3 times. Inhaling for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. You've got it. That's as simple as it is. But if you entered this class with a little bit of stress or kind of couldn't get your mind off of something, then oftentimes using that visualization and that breath together really kind of starts to calm your mind and your body. All right, let's get working on this spine. So what we want to begin with is a couple cat-cows in a sitting posture. So if you're that person that I mentioned at the beginning of class, that you have tight hips and you know that you start to feel your low back in the sitting position, go ahead and allow yourself to change your position to either having your legs out straight or maybe straddling the bolster. I'm going to straddle the bolster today just to give you an alternative position to do your seated cat-cow. So I'm going to do them sideways. You can choose whatever you want at home. So in that position, as I find myself in this position, I'm going to place my hands on my bolster so you can see that I really want you to think of your cat-cows today, not so much about your chest and your neck and looking up and down, but the roll of the pelvis forward and backward with the belly. All right, so let's give this a try. Take a nice deep inhale, roll your pelvis forward, stick your belly out, lift your chest gently. Can you squeeze your shoulder blades? And then as you exhale, roll that belly backwards, tuck that belly in, pelvis, tailbone hits, allow your rib cage to come so that it stacks right on top of that pelvis, maybe lengthen, drop the chin. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, roll the pelvis, belly comes forward, arching the back, lifting that tailbone. Can you squeeze those shoulder blades back and down? And roll that pelvis backward. Allow that tailbone to tuck. Really pull that belly in. That's all abdominals, guys. Drop that rib cage down. Maybe look down towards your bolster. One more time here. Inhale, roll the pelvis forward. Really allow that belly to expand outward. Reach that rib cage up, shoulder blades back and down. And finally, exhaling, rolling all the way back. Spread the shoulder blades, gaze down, let that tailbone touch that bolster. You've got it. Now that we've done that, allow yourself to take your bolster and place your bolster in the center of your yoga mat. Have yourself so that you're down to one end of the yoga mat. So what we want to do is we want to get hip distance of our knees first. So we're going to go into a child's pose 2 different ways here to really help starting to open up our back. So take your fists, bring them between those knees, check in that you've got fist distance. Look back at your feet, make sure they line up with your knees. And then generally allow yourself to let your sit bones kind of settle down onto your heels. Now the bolster's right there. So what I want you to do is I want you to enter your child's pose a little bit differently today. So in this position, place your hands on the floor. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, pull your rib cage back. Now take the crown of that head and nose dive to your bolster. So it's kind of like you're trying to get your nose to line up with your knees. Go as close as you can here. Really keep that tailbone tucked under. Really allow that rib cage to be back there. Hold this position. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhaling out. And one more breath. Nice deep inhale. And exhaling out. Now, curl yourself up from your head first. So allow the head to curl up, allow the rib cage to curl up, allow your body to curl up. You've got it. Now take your knees and bring your knees the width of your mat. So now you've got this nice wide space. So if one of the key problems with your back is that you've got those tight hips, this is going to be an easier position for you to do child's pose. In this position, don't worry about changing the bolster. Place a hand straddling the bolster. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then as you exhale, tuck that tailbone under, round those shoulder blades, curl that rib cage under, bend those elbows, dive that crown of the head into that yoga bolster, gazing straight back. You may notice that your toes are kind of pointing towards one another here. That's what you would expect with your knees wider. Now keep this position, nice deep inhale into the belly. Slow exhaling out. One more time here. Deep inhale into the belly. And slow exhaling out. Slowly start at the tailbone this time. Curl yourself back up. Let the spine be second, rib cage third. Lengthen the neck, and then bring the head back up. Just a little bit of different motor control and 2 different child's poses there. All right, now here's what I want you to do. Slowly sit yourself down on your bottom. Allow yourself to take your legs and straddle your yoga bolster. Take the yoga bolster up and into your inner thigh areas. Now, how wide you have your legs is completely up to you. You can go nice and wide if you want to, or you can keep your legs a little narrower, as narrow as the width of your yoga mat if you want. Pick what's comfortable for you. But here's what I want you to do. Take your hands and reach for the front of the yoga bolster. Now, in that position, if you're that person in this class that one of the key issues with your low back are tight hamstrings, guess where you're immediately feeling this? In the hamstrings, or even worse yet, the back of the knees. So if that is you, bend those knees up a little bit so that you can give your sciatic nerve in your hamstrings a bit of a break. If that's not you, feel free to keep your knees a little bit straight here. So with your hands reaching forward for the front of the bolster, give yourself a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, use your biceps and pull yourself down towards that bolster. I do not expect most of us to get the crown of our head to the bolster, but go as far as you can. Drop your elbows on your bolster, take your hands, rest your hands and your head together. Let your tailbone settle back. Now, here's the thing. Deep inhale into your belly here. Stretching out that low back. Exhale, relaxing. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhale and relaxing. And dropping the hands back down on the bolster. Start at your tailbone. Use your abdominals and slowly curl your spine back up until you're in the upright position. You've got it. Now, move your bolster gently out to the side. We're not done with it, but allow yourself to now turn 90 degrees on your mat so that your sit bones are touching your yoga mat in the center of your mat. Now, here's what I encourage you to do. Take your hands and pull those gluteal tissues away from those sit bones so you can feel those sit bones on your yoga mat. Once you have that done, take your right leg, bringing your right leg to the corner of your right mat, left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Now, in this position, just going in this position, if you sit up nice and tall on your sit bones, you should successfully feel a nice gentle stretch through the inner thigh, one of the key muscles that oftentimes stiffens our pelvis, therefore causing back pain. So just allow yourself to sit up nice and tall here. Feel that stretch into that inner thigh. Hands can be placed onto your legs or knees, but not the kneecaps. And just take a nice deep inhale here and exhale out. One more breath. Nice deep inhale in and exhale out. You've got it. Now what I want us to do is look at our pelvis. I want us to take our pelvis and line the pelvis up with the left knee. So for some of you, you can turn yourself and pull the left knee back. For others of you, you might find that making your right leg longer turns your pelvis towards your left knee. So what we're tackling here is this left quadratus lumborum muscle and abdominals. So the outside of the low back on the left side. That's our focus. Doesn't mean you're not going to still feel your right inner thigh. Now take your right hand to the inside of your right knee. Take your left hand and reach it back behind you so that you find that position where your shoulder blades and your shoulders line perfectly up with your right leg. All right, now that you have that position, sit yourself nice and tall. You will likely feel more your left sit bone than your right sit bone. That is A-okay. Allow yourself to take this left hand, reach it straight out behind you. Take a nice deep inhale here, reach that arm up. And then as you exhale, allow the right hand to start to slide down the inside of the right leg as the left arm reaches up and over. Now, here's the fail for most individuals. You will lose that quadratus lumborum muscle if you let your rib cage collapse forward. So just allow yourself to side bend wherever you can, keeping that armpit still facing up to the ceiling. You can lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and maybe gently gaze up to that left thumb. I hope you feel something in the outside of your left back, low back that is. Now, see if you can breathe into that left low back here. So take a nice deep inhale and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale and exhaling out. And then inhale, reaching that left arm and the rib cage back up. And then as you exhale, dropping that left hand down. All right, not done with this position. So now what I want you to do, take that pelvis that's facing towards that left knee and actually rotate yourself. So really make your right leg shorter. So now the pelvis is facing the right foot or the right knee. So all you've done is rotated your pelvis and your rib cage and changed its position to now facing towards the right side. All right, now that you're there, left hand, take it to the outside of the right leg. Right hand, bring it gently behind you. So you're in a little bit of a spinal twist just to be able to get your rib cage to line up nicely with this right leg. So check in with your chest right here. Does it look like it's nice and level with your right foot? All right, you're where you need to be. Now take a nice deep inhale, pull your belly forward, sit up tall. And then as you exhale, hinge from your right hip. Slowly slide your arm downwards towards the outer part of your right ankle. Go to wherever you can, but do not let your rib cage and your neck collapse. So don't let yourself fold forward from the rib cage. You will lose the hamstring and the low back. Keep your back nice and straight as you make your way down towards that ankle. All right, deep inhale into that right hamstring. Exhaling out. One more breath, deep inhale in and exhaling out. Inhale, slide back up, and then exhale, unrotate that rib cage. You've got it. Now, take the right knee in, left leg out. We got to just do it all over again on this opposite side. So make sure that the left foot is facing down towards the left corner of the mat. Right foot is into that body area, into the inner thigh area. Now in this position, pelvis, face it straight forward and sit up nice and tall on those sit bones. There's that left inner thigh that we're looking for. Just gently rest your hands on your thighs. Stay rolled and tall and allow yourself to take a deep inhale and exhale. One more good breath here. Deep inhale and exhale. Was your right inner thigh tighter than your left? Start putting the puzzle pieces together to what might be problematic to your low back if you in fact have an issue. All right, now we need to take this pelvis and find this pelvis lined up with the right knee. So again, you can pull your right leg back or you can lengthen through your left leg. Do whatever you want to do, but the goal is to get the pelvis facing towards that right knee. Once you have that position, left hand to the inside of the left inner thigh, right hand reaching behind you. Now, can you find that position where your shoulder blades, shoulders, and arms align perfectly up with that left leg? Once you have that position, right arm, bring it up and out to the side of you. Allow yourself to take an inhale, reach the arm up into the air. Then on the exhale, slide that left arm down the inside of the left leg. Again, don't let yourself fail and rotate to the left and let your rib cage and your arm come forward. Keep that right armpit lifted up towards the ceiling. And then if you would like, lengthen the neck, settle the chin and gaze up towards that right arm. You should feel this in your right low back. Give me a nice deep inhale here and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Inhale, lift the right arm and rib cage back up, and then exhale, dropping it back down again. All right, now we need to take this pelvis that's faced towards this right knee and rotate it towards the left knee. So the easy way to do that is to literally functionally shorten your left leg by pulling the pelvis backwards into a left rotation. Once you're in this position, check in that your pelvis is facing towards that left leg. Now, oftentimes our rib cage is still kind of rotated to the right here. So let's get our arm placement so that we can get the most beautiful elongation through the left hamstring here. So allow the right hand to come up and over to the left side of the left leg. Left arm, bring it behind you. So that allows you to keep yourself into that neutral position through the rib cage. Now, take an inhale and really lengthen your spine up. And then as you exhale, it's a hinge from the hips, ladies and gentlemen. So don't let your rib cage curl under and drop your neck. Use those spinal muscles. We're strengthening spinal muscles here to keep your spine tall as all you do is hinge from your hip. Take your hand down towards the outside of that left ankle as far as you feel comfortable. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. 2 breaths here. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. And one more breath, deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Then inhaling, coming all the way back. I'm exhaling, unrotating that spine. You've got it. Now, come back to the center of your mat. Take the feet and bring the feet towards one another. And so what we're going to do here is both of those inner thigh muscles together. The inner thigh muscles, the adductor muscles, play a major role in the mobility of your pelvis. So if your pelvis is stiff, guess what you're going to use? Your low back. And so oftentimes low back pain is just the effect of the fact that you're really tight through your pelvis and your inner thigh area. So take your hands if you can and interlace them whichever way you want, and see if you can bring those underneath your feet today, because you're going to use your biceps to actually do the opening through these inner thigh muscles. Then just kind of use your legs and kind of move them back and forth like butterfly wings for a second, because I really want you to be able to let go of your hip rotator. So kind of do that a few times until you feel like you could just let your legs relax out to the side. Now, use your shoulder blades. Think about this, your shoulder blades. As you inhale, pull your shoulder blades back and down and sit up nice and tall. Then as you exhale, use your biceps to hinge from your hips and pull yourself forward. Again, your rib cage should not be collapsing downward towards your feet. So your goal is to try to let your chest be up and over the toes. Keep those biceps engaged. Let's do 2 nice deep inhales and exhales here. So deep inhale into the belly, exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Slowly inhale, bring yourself back up and slowly bring those legs back together again. All right, sweep your feet to one side, walk yourself back onto your mat, and then slowly sit yourself back onto your heels, going into child's pose here. Can you check in that your knees are hip distance? Take a quick look back at your feet, make sure they didn't fall together, hip distance. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then on your exhale, curl your tailbone under, tuck your belly in, drop your rib cage towards your thighs, chest towards your knees. For the first time now, crown of the head towards the floor, and allow yourself to rest in this child's pose. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Starting at your tailbone, slowly pull your abdominals in, curling yourself all the way back up. All right, back to that bolster again. So that quadratus lumborum muscle and those abdominals in the outside of their back, that is such a key muscle to really get relaxation and length into for those of us that have back issues, because oftentimes it becomes very tight and tense and short. So we're going to use this bolster to find yet another way to lengthen through that back muscle. So take your bolster, bring it so that it is perpendicular to your yoga mat, somewhere near the center of your yoga mat. Now, we need to get up and on this bolster with our pelvis. So here's what I want you to do. Allow yourself to take your left pelvis, left sit bone, and be up on that bolster. Now, once you're up and on that bolster, scoot yourself to the very front of the bolster. Lord, I almost pushed myself right off of it this time. Once you're on the very front of the bolster or side of the bolster with your left pelvis and your left hip, left hand is on the floor on the side of the mat. Now, it's a smooth transition down onto your side. Then you kind of engage your legs and your abdominals and just do a log roll, and voila, you're going to be up and on the top of that bolster. So give that a try for me. So slowly drop downwards and then roll yourself over. Now, once you roll yourself over, kind of move the bolster around so that you can find that position that you feel comfortable, that your hips and your pelvis feel like they're directly on the bolster. Now, we're not going to be in this position for a really long time, just long enough to give those hip flexors a little tiny bit of love here. So in this position, take your left knee and bring your left knee gently into your chest. Nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, pull the knee into the chest. Now keep the left knee into the chest. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, just slowly bring the right foot down to the floor. Now, take an inhale, and as you inhale, use your quadriceps and kick your right leg straight. And then as you exhale, slowly work towards trying to get that right heel to the floor. Left knee to the chest, right heel to the floor. The big component of how far you're getting those hip flexors opened, right knee straight. Holding this position. Take the deepest inhale into your belly. Really open up through the front of that right pelvis and the front of that right hip. And then exhaling out, can you maybe get the left knee to the chest more? Can you maybe straighten the right knee? One more breath, deep inhale here. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now, slowly inhale, bring that right knee all the way up to your chest. And as you exhale, hug both knees into your chest. Take the hands to the right thigh. Take an inhale here, and then on the exhale, drop the left foot down towards the floor. So for those of you that already feel stress and tension in the front of your hip, you know what? This might be where you stay, but let's go into a little bit more opening of it if you need to. So from this position, keeping the right knee to your chest, left leg, take an inhale, use those quadriceps and kick that leg straight. And as you exhale, gently lower that leg down to the floor. Heel to the floor on the left side, knee to the chest on the right side. The trick to how much you're opening through the front of the pelvis and the left hip is how straight is that left knee. All right, ready? 2 deep inhales and exhales here. So nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. And one more breath, deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. You've got it. So inhale, bringing that left knee all the way back up into your chest. And then as you exhale, gently bringing those knees into your chest. Now, in this position, for those of you that have really tight low back muscles, this is a great position to release those low back muscles. So here's what I want you to do. Maybe keep your knees around your shin, your hands around your shin bones and knees to your chest. But if you know you've got really tight back muscles, maybe take a hand or two and kind of gently place your hand behind your low back area, keeping your knees to your chest, so no tension into those hamstring muscles. Now, here's what I want you to do. Take an inhale, and as you inhale, slowly imagine your low back settling down to the floor. You'll feel the abdominals contract. And then as you exhale, just imagine gravity working to let that low back meet further towards the fingers or towards the floor. Keep your neck long, your chin tucked. Let's do that again. As you inhale, exhaling, let those spinal segments just kind of drop towards the floor. Yeah. Now, in this inversion, allow the arms to come back around the shin bones, lengthen the neck, settle the chin, and pull your toes back up towards your knees and your head for a second. Those of you with those really tight back muscles, you're in a little bit of flexion through your lumbar spine here. I actually want you to stay there. Those of you that don't have really tight back muscles, and if you don't know, you play with it, whatever works for you. Just no injury, no pain, please. Now allow yourself to take your knees slowly away from your chest so that your knees are somewhat stacked on top of your hips here. Okay, now place your hands on top of your thighs. Abdominal muscles are our target here, so pull your shoulder blades back and down, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, gaze at your knees, all right? And then just like you would start arm wrestling, start to push your hands gently into your thighs and your thighs gently into your hands. Keep those toes pointed up. But in this position, for those of you that have really tight back muscles, you're really a little bit more strategically turning on those abdominal muscles. So keep gently pushing hands into knees, knees into hands here. You've got it. Keep that neck nice and lengthened, chin tuck in. Take a deep inhale into your belly. You should feel all of your lower muscles of your abdomen turning on here. One more breath, nice deep inhale. and exhale, and then gently bring those knees back into your chest. All right, now here's what we're doing. Allow yourself to kind of wiggle yourself over to the right side of the bolster. Now, for some of us, that's easier to do than others, I know, but I literally want you to see, can you get yourself so now that your right hip is kind of in line with the right side of the bolster? You will understand why in a second. Also, check in that your right arm and shoulder are kind of on the edge of the right side of your yoga mat, or maybe even off of it. All right, now here's what you're gonna do. Just take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, roll yourself onto your left side. Now, if you did it well enough, I didn't, I sucked at it. If you did it well enough, your pelvis should have landed smacked up on that bolster, and so should your left leg bone. So move yourself around. Take this opportunity to get yourself in the position so that pelvis on the left side and left leg on the left side are on top of the bolster. Right leg is just stacked on top of the left. Now, you are in a natural inversion here. So what I want you to do is stack your shoulders and gently let your neck rest down onto the mat. It is a slight left side bend of your head, but it is a really nice inversion for your cardiovascular system and your lymphatic system. If this is too much for your vestibular system or your neck to handle, then by all means, take that left hand and place it underneath your head. Okay, now our target is that quadratus lumborum muscle that sits back here in your low back. So here's what I want you to do. Take that right leg, lift it off of the left leg so that they're stacked, but there's space in between. Now take a nice deep inhale, and as you inhale, kick the right leg straight. Then as you exhale, slowly start to lower the right leg towards your mat. Now, if your left leg starts to slide off of the bolster, take your right hand and hook underneath that left knee so you can keep yourself on your bolster. The goal is to try to get the inside of that right foot to touch your mat. You're getting that opening through that quadratus lumborum muscle, through the outside of your hip, all those evil things that cause us to overuse our low back. Now, if you're comfortable in that position, play for a minute. If you slide your leg back or slide your leg forward, can you feel that area of your low back even more? See what works for you. I have my leg slid all the way to the back right side of my mat because that gives me that muscle perfectly. Now let's add a little bit of rib cage here. So take that right hand, lift it up in the air, and then as you exhale, of course, bring it up and over that head if that's comfortable for you and you don't have too many shoulder issues. That armpit, make sure it's up towards the ceiling and you're not forward towards the ground. All right, that side of the low back that you should feel that beautiful stretch in. Can you give me the deepest inhale into your belly, into that area? And exhaling out. Boy, that feels good. Let's do that one more time. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. All right, let's start with this right arm. So right arm, inhale it back up in the air, and as you exhale, bring it down. Once the right arm is down, either holding the left leg or on the mat in front of you, right leg, inhale it, kick it up in the air. Keep it there for a second as you exhale. Let's get some strength to those gluteus medius muscles that are often weak for individuals with low back. Keep it there. Don't worry about what it's doing. Keep your leg long. Nice deep inhale here. And then finally, as you exhale, pull your knee back into your chest so that the legs are stacked one on top of the other. Oh boy, I bet you that felt good, didn't it? All right, now, bottom elbow, top hand. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on your exhale, push yourself back up onto that bolster and literally just slide yourself down off the end. We're not done on this right side. We will eventually make it to the left side, I promise. So in this position, what I want you to do is your left pelvic bone is now on the edge of your bolster. Your knees are still stacked. Take your shin bones out to the side of your mat. Okay, now same lowering procedure. So lower your left elbow down to the mat. and then allow yourself to lower your body down. Now you're in a much bigger side bend of your neck here, so use your arm to rest your head down. If you've got restrictions through your left shoulder, give yourself a second to hop on up, grab that yoga block that's somewhere near you and place that yoga block underneath your head. But if you can just place your left hand underneath, that will do you just fine. Now, the latissimus dorsi muscle, one of the key restrictor muscles of our low back, literally attaches from our arm all the way to our tailbone. Big muscle, you guys. So if we're doing a low back class, we got to give it a little bit of love here. So with your rib cage kind of side bent left over this bolster right now, okay? And keep your legs where they are. Take that right hand and bring the right arm in the air. Can you make sure that you see that your right shoulder and your left shoulder are stacked so that your chest is not rolled downward onto the mat? Then take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, reach that arm up and over your body. Now, just like you did with that right leg when we were focusing on quadratus lumborum, can you slide the hand back or slide the hand forward? Find for you, where do you feel the tightest amount of tension through that right rib cage? Hold that arm in that position. All right, let's move that leg. Take an inhale, lift that right leg up, kick it all the way out, and as you exhale, slide that leg down. So this time it's all about the rib cage. So in this position, give me a nice deep inhale into your rib cage. And exhaling out. Yeah, let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale into the rib cage. And exhaling out. All right, right leg first. Inhale, lift that leg up. Can you hold it there for an exhale? Can you hold it there for another inhale? Good. Exhale, slide it in. Giving every opportunity to strengthen these hips, guys. Inhale, bring that right arm up. Exhale, relax it down in front of you on the bolster. All right, left elbow, right hand. Take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, push yourself up. And we finally now need to make it to the other side of the bolster. So the easy thing to do, just kind of do a 180 for you at home. If you can hear me and you know what we're doing, I'm going to turn myself around so that I am with the bolster now near the right side of my body. Now here's the deal. We got to start back up on top of it. We can't start with our latissimus first because we got to get that lower deep low back muscle first. So simply just lift yourself up onto that bolster, get that entire right leg bone and entire pelvis on the bolster, stack the left knee on top to get yourself back in that start position where we left off on the right side. Drop yourself down onto that right elbow, drop yourself all the way down so that your shoulders are stacked, knees, ankles, and hips are stacked. Now, in this position again, you are in an inversion. So your neck should be fairly comfortable just resting your head on the ground. But if that is not comfortable for you for whatever reason, you can certainly take your right hand and place it underneath your head. Make sure that the shoulders are stacked and there's no rotation of your rib cage. All right, so here's our focus right here, this low back area on the left side. So in this position, allow yourself to lift the left leg up. So find that space between those two legs. All right, here we go. Take an inhale, kick that leg straight, and then on the exhale, lower that left leg down onto the floor, trying to get the inside of the heel and the foot to touch the yoga mat. Now, the right hand holding the underside of the left knee will stop you from rotating if you're rotating, but allow yourself to slide that leg forward and backward on that yoga mat. Find that point where you feel the most tension through that quadratus lumborum area. It attaches from your rib cage down to your pelvis. So you should feel it somewhere through the side or the back body. All right, once you feel like you've got yourself in a comfortable position there, let's add the arm. So that left arm, lift it straight up in the air. And then as you exhale, reach it up and over your body. Okay, now really focus on breathing into that low back area. So deep inhale into your belly here. Exhaling out. You got it one more time. Deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Real nice. Now the left arm, allow the left arm to inhale up first, and then as you exhale, just drop it down. Now let's do some hip strengthening while we're here. So left leg, inhale it, lift it up in the air. Keep that leg really long. Exhaling here. Inhaling. And then on the exhale, pull that leg up and in, relaxing yourself in that position. All right, so quadratus lumborum is taken care of. We got to get back to that latissimus dorsi muscle. So right elbow on the mat, left hand on the mat. Nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, push yourself up and slide yourself down off of that bolster. So once you're off that bolster, right pelvis, right leg is what should be touching the bolster. Line the knees and the ankles up. Then again, you're going right back down and over that bolster again. So slowly drop down onto the right elbow. Slowly bring your head back down. Now you're definitely in more of a side bend here. So use that bottom shoulder and arm to rest your palm against your head or your cranium. Again, if that's still too much side bending, by all means, take a moment to grab that yoga block and find it. But we're now focusing on the rib cage and the latissimus dorsi here. So we're going to move the arm first, just like we did on the right side. So keep the legs stacked and in an alignment. Left arm, bring it up in the air. Now, can you take this opportunity to see that your arm, your left shoulder, and your right shoulder are all beautifully lined up? Take a deep inhale here. Then as you exhale, reach that arm up and over. Once the arm is up and over, just like you played with your foot, play with the arm. Where do you feel the most tension? I found my spot. You find your spot. And once you have that spot, lift the left leg up, take an inhale, straighten it all the way out, and as you exhale, drop it down. So it's just kind of anchoring the bottom of the pelvis here where the latissimus attaches to. Now, focus on breathing into the rib cage. This is more about the rib cage now. Deep inhale into the rib cage. Exhaling out. One more time here. Inhale into the rib cage. Exhaling out. Keep that arm where it is. Let's take an opportunity for left hip strengthening. Inhale, lift that leg up, hold it up there. Exhaling here. Inhaling, hold it there. And then exhale, pulling that leg all the way back in. All right, now with that left arm, inhale, lifting it up, and then exhale, drop it down on that bolster. All right, I think we're done with this bolster, right? So bottom elbow, that's your right elbow, top hand, left hand. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, push yourself up. Once you push yourself up, kind of move that yoga bolster out of your way. Take a quick moment here to go into hands and knees. So gently, just doing some nice, good cat-cows. You've done so much good lengthening through your rib cage, pelvis, and hips already. Let's make it worth our money, right? So take those knees, make sure their hip distance, look straight back behind you. Feet are in alignment. Walk those hands underneath those shoulders. Elbows and wrists directly underneath shoulders, index fingers forward. All right, 3 cat-cows here. Again, this is a low back class, so make it focus on the pelvis movement and the rib cage movement, not so much focus on your neck. So inhale, sink the belly, lift the tailbone, really drop that rib cage, pull those shoulder blades back. And then as you exhale, really tuck that tailbone under, pull that belly in, drop that rib cage, spread those shoulder blades. 2 more. Inhale, drop that belly down. Get as much extension as you feel comfortable, as long as you don't have extension problems. Exhale, really pull that abdominal muscles in, really tuck under. And finally, sinking the belly, really find that beautiful extension. And exhaling, curling, curling, curling. Can you sit yourself back into child's pose? Sit bones to heels, belly to thighs, chest to rib to knees. Lengthen the back of your neck. Drop that crown of your head to the floor. Nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Now, slowly making your way back up into hands and knees. Back muscle strengthening. We've already done lots of good back muscle strengthening, but now what I want to do is really give you an excellent exercise to strengthen through those back muscles. Now, if you have wrist issues, you do have a yoga bolster near you, so you could put that yoga bolster in front of you and come down onto your elbows. It does sink you into a slight inversion, but it should not impair you in doing this exercise. Check in that you've got excellent alignment between your hips and your knees, hips stacked directly on top of your knees. Feet are in alignment with your knees and those knees are hip distance. Have it so that those hands are directly underneath those shoulders. Index fingers are forward. Take this opportunity to really stretch those thumbs inward. Now, here's what I want you to do. Find your tabletop position. So find your spine in that nice neutral position. A lot of us kind of fail through our shoulder blades. So really kind of get some good pushing away of those shoulder blades from one another. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Now, can you harden your abdominals? So like if somebody was to punch you right now, what would you do with those abdominal muscles? You would harden them. Keep your gaze straight down on your mat. Don't let a single piece of your body move, but lift your right hand off the mat. Can you then inhale and gently reach your arm forward without a single piece of your body moving? Exhale, bring it back into your body 2 times. Lengthen your neck, keep those abdominals nice and firm. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, bring it back in. One more time. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, bring it back in. Place that right hand back down. Make sure index finger and thumb are in the same position. Nothing has moved of your spine. Abdominals are still firm. Keep everything perfectly still. Lengthen that neck, settle that chin. Take the left hand and lift it away from the body. So you're now using only 3 extremities. Okay, with the left arm, keeping those abdominals firm. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, bring it back. Keep the spine stable. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, bring it back. One more time here. Inhale, reach it forward. And exhale, bring it back. Place that left hand back on the floor. Check in that your wrist, elbow, shoulder alignment is sufficient. Of course, we're going to the legs now. Now, this is where it's difficult, particularly if you've got spinal weakness, hip weakness, abdominal weakness. So do the best you can. Brace through those abdominals. Keep that spine nice and straight. Now, unload the right leg off the ground. Take an inhale, slowly lengthen it out. Don't let the spine move. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, bring it out. Don't let your spine move. Don't let your hips move. Keep that leg nice and perpendicular on the left side. Exhale, bring it back out. One more time. Inhale, lengthen it. Exhale, bring it back in. Drop it down. Maybe give your wrists a break if you need to for a second. Unload them. Feel free to. We got one more appendage to do, one more extremity. So get your alignment. Make sure your shoulders, your neck, your chin, everything is good. Brace through those abdominals. Left leg left. So allow yourself to keep everything braced. Just lift the left leg slightly off the ground. Keep the pelvis and everything still. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Don't let your spine move. Don't let your hips move. Exhale, bring it back in. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it back in. And one more time. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bring it back in. Sit yourself back, eyes into child's pose. Give those wrists a break. You know what? I hate it for you. We're not done. We got to do arms and legs together. Now, if you struggled with your legs with what we just did, for this very last round of spine strengthening, I want you just to go back and use your legs again. Wrists are talking to you, grab that bolster, go on your elbows. I would much rather see you do good strengthening through your hips, your pelvis, and your low back than lose your balance because you don't have the strength in the first place. All right, here we go. Bolster in place if you need it for your hands and wrists. Find that beautiful alignment. Make sure your shoulder blades seem like they're in a good position. Make sure your neck is long, your chin is tucked. Spine is in a gorgeous tabletop position. All right, So we're going to brace through those abdominals. Now, lift the right hand, lift the left leg. Here we go. Inhale, move them away from one another. Keep the spine stable. Don't let the pelvis drop. Exhale, place them back inward. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen. Neck is long, chin is tucked. You're gazing down. Exhale, come back in. And last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it back in. Place the right hand down, the left knee down. Check in, you didn't lose your shoulder blades, your neck, your chin. Check in, those abdominals are still being braced. Spine is still nice and long. Keep the pelvis, the spine, everything stable. Just lift the left hand. Just lift the right knee. Here we go. Inhale, lengthen. Don't let the spine and the hips and the pelvis move. Exhale, come back in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale back in. Keep that gaze down. And inhale, lengthen. And exhale back in. Drop the left hand down, the left knee down. Sit yourself back in child's pose. All right, give me 2 deep breaths here. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Slowly let yourself roll over to your left or your right side. Make sure you've got your yoga block near you. Once you're laying down through your side, bring yourself over onto your back. Okay, now we've done so much to strengthen, so much to open. We've opened up through hip flexors, hamstrings, inner thigh, outer back muscles, lower back muscles, rib cage. We've done a lot. So let's finish with one final hip opener and one final abdominal exercise. So allow yourself to take the block and place it in your right hand. You can use it however you want, but take the right ankle, cross it up and over your left knee and place that block against your right knee. Now, I want you to place right now your left hand just generally on your pelvis area. I want you to feel what happens if you don't engage through your back muscles. If you were right now just to push your knee away from you, you're going to feel that your pelvis and your low back and everything rotates to the right. So you've lost the ability to open up through that right hip to really help your low back. So instead, take that left hand, place that hand underneath your butt cheek on that left side, and push down into your hand. So you're using all of the spinal muscles that create left rotation. That's a good thing. That's going to stabilize you here. Now pushing down into that left hand, take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, push that right knee away. Now you should be able to hopefully feel a good, gentle stretch to the outside of the right hip. Stay sitting in that left hand. Give me a deep inhale here and an exhale here. One more time. Deep inhale here and exhale here. Then slowly release the tension in the block. Take the left hand from underneath you. Block in left hand, uncross the right leg, cross the left ankle over the right knee, place the block against the inside of the right knee, and do the same thing. Place your hand just gently on your pelvis right now. If I was to push my leg away from me, my pelvis rotates left, my spine actually side bends right, but it's not going to be about my hip. So let's strengthen our back muscles and stretch our left hip all at the same time. So take your hand, place it underneath your buttock on that right side, and push the pelvis down into that hand. You're engaging all of those muscles in your spine that are likely weak in the first place. Pushing that right hand down now, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, push that left knee away. Now I feel it in the outside of my left hip. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin. All right, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Excellent. Slowly releasing the tension off of the left knee, right hand from underneath you. Place your block somewhere beside you. Uncross your left knee, bring your left knee to your chest, bring your right knee to your chest. Nice deep inhale here. Exhale, pull those knees into your chest. Now take those toes, point them back up again. Slowly bring the knees away from your chest. As you bring your knees away from your chest, you'll feel if you go too far that your back begins to arch. So get that position that you feel that your back is just a little tiny bit off of the mat. Hold that position. Let your hands go. All right, you're already stabilizing your spine in this position if nothing is moving. But can you put your hands onto your thighs? Start that arm wrestling maneuver. So gently push the hands into the knees into the hands, holding right here. Feel maybe some great shaking happening. Maybe put a smile on your face. Give me a nice deep inhale and an exhale. And one more time, nice deep inhale and an exhale. You've got it. Slowly pull the knees into the chest. All right, quick little back opener here for spinal twist. So take your arms out to the side, T formation. Keep those knees stacked one on top of the other, okay? Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, let the knees fall to the right. How far can you go before your left shoulder blade lifts? Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, take your gaze to the left thumb. Nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. And one more deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Now, start with that left rib cage. Pull it down first. Then pull the low back down. Then pull the pelvis down. Bring those knees perfectly back upright. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, dropping those knees to the left. How far can you go? I hit my bolster. How far can you go? Shoulder blade, try to keep that right shoulder blade down. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, turn your gaze to the right thumb. Nice deep inhale here. And exhale. One more breath, deep inhale in. And exhale. All right, bring that head back to the center. Start with that right rib cage. Use those abdominals and spinal muscles to bring it down first, followed by that low back, followed by the pelvis and the knees. Bring those knees back up to the chest, open through that back. Drop those feet down to the floor. Settle your spine in a good position. Roll your shoulder blades underneath you, arms, so that the palms are lifted, and then gently slide each of the legs down to the corners of your mat. Oh boy, did we do a lot today. So low back, we got some flexibility through the rib cage, taking the tension off the low back. We got some flexibility through the pelvis and the inner thighs and the hip flexors, taking the tension off the low back. We got some flexibility through the back muscles that tend to get tight at the hamstrings, taking the tension off the low back. And of course, likely the most important for a lot of us, we strengthen through those abdominals and our back muscles. Keep your body nice and still. Take just these last couple seconds to feel your breath. What part of your body is moving right now the most? Is it your belly or your chest? And just be aware of it. And then start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circles with those ankles and wrists. I could have laid here for 15 minutes. If you're with me and you want to, by all means, go for it. But for the rest of us, let's move on with our day. So slide that right leg up, followed by the left, and then let yourself roll over onto your side. Rest there for a breath or two. And then when you feel like you're ready, Bottom elbow top hand on, and exhale, push yourself up into a seated position. Bringing yourself back to that easy pose probably feels a lot easier after what we just did. Hands are to your heart, smiles on our faces. Let's take a nice deep inhale in and exhale out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.